Hello everybody and welcome to the GX Arcade, my little gaming corner here on YouTube. Today I wanted to do something a little bit special and that means basically starting a little bit of a mini-series tackling one particular game. I'm talking about the brand new installment in the WWE 2K series, which is 2K26, a game that's right around the corner. Basically we're talking about two main reasons why I want to do this. The first reason is pretty simple. I really like video games and I really like wrestling, and whenever those two come together, combine, well, it's great for me. The second reason, it's also related to video games and wrestling, but it's more of an excuse for me. An excuse to introduce you to something that's going to be coming quite soon on this channel. That's because I have quite a lot of footage that has been recorded in another wrestling game, which is the previous one. That's because I have quite a lot of footage that has been recorded in another wrestling game. I'm talking about the previous installment of WWE 2K25. In that game, I have recorded quite a lot of footage, but it still needs some work because there's a lot of editing to be done. However, I'll be having that content up on my channel pretty soon. And yes, my hopes about that is that you all will enjoy what's about to come. But enough of that, because it's time to actually take a look at the things that we're gathered here today for. So, like I said in the beginning, WWE 2K26, the latest game in the franchise, is right around the corner with the release date on the 13th of March. And with that moment approaching rapidly, I made the decision to take a look at what WWE 2K official YouTube channel posted in the last few weeks. Now, I'm talking about a couple of videos that are called Ringside Report, and in those videos they are actually trying to share with us all the new kinds of information about the new game. So, without further ado and jumping straight into the business with the first Ringside Report that was released, we're gonna talk gameplay. Even though it might not sound that good because we're gonna start with some smelly business, well, it's a good addition to the game. So in this very first Ringside Report, they made the decision to start things off with showing us all the new types of matches that they are going to include this time around in this game. And the smelly business that I just mentioned is because they introduced a dumpster match. It is exactly how it sounds. Crazy, insane, I know. It's not necessarily a thing that's made to evoke realism, so basically they're focusing more on the fun part with this kind of match. In the gameplay that they are showing us, you can see Javon Evans and Aiden Page taking it out on each other in a parking lot, because obviously you need an open space for that. The purpose of this match is obviously beat down your opponent, so much so that they will not show any kind of resistance towards you when you will try to just throw their body into the dumpster. Like I said, this is not much for realism, but you know, it's a fun thing to do in the game, so yeah, anybody can give it a try. The next thing that they are showing up on the list is the first time we're gonna see an I Quit match. Yes, you heard me right. I Quit matches are gonna be in the brand new game WWE 2K26. This brand new thing as a match has a few workarounds. The reason why I'm saying this is because you can win the match by making your opponent say I quit, either by beating them up or putting them in a submission. So basically they're going to use every single thing that they already had in the game before with different kinds of matches, like a submission match or the classic last man standing match. So basically you can win the match by beating up your opponent senseless or trying to use any kind of submission to make them quit. A good new thing that you can see in this match, especially when it comes to submission, is that this time around is going to be probably the first time where you can use actual weapons to actually put your opponent into a submission maneuver. So basically those weapons are going to be your special aid. How is this new type of match going to go? Basically, if you want to win, you just have to do all the things that I mentioned before. But also you want to be careful because you want to avoid losing. How you're going to do that is pretty simple. You're going to have your ass handed to you in this type of matches, so the referee will ask you the question. So in order to get out of this situation, you will have to deal with a little quick time event, just like in the case of a pinfall or a submission, but this time around you just have to hit all the button prompts correctly when they pop up on the screen. The very next thing they are showing us is basically another addition, which is the 3 stages of hell match. This is going to work just like another thing that was introduced at some point in the game and is still around. I'm talking about the 2 out of 3 falls type of match. Basically the premise being the same. You have to score multiple falls in different kinds of stipulation, all within one single match. Now the last type of match they are presenting in this Ringside Report is a little bit weird for me. I'm talking about the Inferno match. Now, what they're saying about it is that this is basically the first time this match is going to appear. Now, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's a Mandela effect or something like that, but I think I've seen this in some other wrestling game before. Maybe it's the first time this kind of match appears in a WWE 2K series, but yeah, maybe it was before in some other games like Raw versus SmackDown, but yeah, I don't really think it's the first time we ever see this in a wrestling game ever. However, doesn't really matter because it's a pretty good addition to the game, and yeah, it's another fun thing to do. Moving on a little bit further from the matches, we're tackling the actual weapons and all the things that you can use in your environment inside this game. In this situation, we have four things that I want to mention. Talking about the weapons, first off, we're going to have for the very first time in a wrestling game, thumbtacks. And I can tell you that I cannot wait to play those type of matches. The next thing about the weapons is something that has been changed from previous games to this new installment. Every single time you would want to use a weapon, you would be free to do it, and you would be able to inflict quite a lot of damage to your opponent. However, if you happen to drop a weapon and then you were to just pick up your opponent and do some kind of maneuver on top of that weapon, well, basically nothing would happen. It would be a crazy thing because it's like it wasn't even there. This time around, they seem to have changed the collision model in relation to existing weapons in the environment. So basically, any kind of weapon that is dropped around you, like a chair or a ladder or maybe the steps outside the ring, you're gonna pick up your opponent, do any kind of maneuver on top of those, and it's gonna have a significant impact on their health bar. Even though there's not much to be said about it, now you have the option to stack tables on top of each other and then just yeet your opponent through both of them. And finally, just to finish things in style, we're talking about the gold, baby. That's because in recent time in WWE, we have seen either on Raw or SmackDown or any kind of pay-per-view, PLE, something different. Whenever you see a match on television and there's a championship on the line, WWE brought a little podium and they put championship right there on display to be seen by the camera. This time around, this is going to be part of the game. However, it's not just going to be for show. You can pretty much go to the podium, grab the belt, and use it as a weapon. You can see in the gameplay in the match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre how the ordinary belt is going to be transformed into an insane whiplash. So yeah, a lot of new changes and a lot of crazy things are going to be available to you in the new WWE 2K26 game. And with that being said, this is it for me for today, tackling the first part of the Ringside Reports. See you on the next one.